You learned some things, you studied some things, you trained for things, and you had discussions about what you wanted to do next. You also learned that there were dragon cults and potential. I'll just call them death cults, or undeath cults.
Yep.
I don't know.
Death cult seems fair.
Because yeah, the saying cults of Nerul is just too complicated. So death cults, we'll just call them that.
That's the
So
important part of that information anyway.
yes, so dragon cults and death cults, and you also were interested in, well, Griswold was interested in following up on his abyssal friends. Or I guess they're not abyssal, they're infernal friends. Because tieflings
Yep.
are infernal, they're devils. You decided to do a big circular uh, tour of the southern half of Isilra, starting with Mageshear, which is here. I believe the idea was to go to Mageshear and then counterclockwise, right? Was that the deal, or were you going to go live from here and then south? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
we
I
were
think
gonna
it's
go on the
We're gonna go
clockwise.
Mage Shear and then hop on a boat.
Yeah, and then
What
down
is-
to. I don't remember if you wanted to go to Abraxas or if you want to go to Zidambra.
to Israel. Yeah, Zanambra to Israel.
And
There.
then Ragna wanted to kind of do another little loop back up to Oriath and Ethuil.
What the hell is that, Tara?
I have no idea. I copied my Word doc and I pasted it in, and it turned into an image somehow.
Okay.
But that's
Yeah,
okay.
Mage Tier, Israel, Vista Hill, it's hard to read because I have mine on dark mode.
Yeah,
Oriath,
it's-
Oriath,
Ethuil.
Ethel, and Stormhaven.
I don't know how that happened, but magic,
Yeah, it
I
works.
guess.
So yeah, it's kind of a mini tour then, because for some reason I was thinking that you were gonna go to Dragonwell too, but yeah, this is a mini tour of the southeastern half of Isilra.
And I think originally we wanted to go counterclockwise and just start with Dragonwell and then go down and around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were gonna
Yep.
come down around this way and back up, but then we voted Mage Shear to start to help Rhea. Rena.
Rhea, yeah. And it is technically the closest place you could go anyway, so I still didn't fix this, but I do actually intend to make this mileage correct at some point. Just have to find the best. So also, when I was reading about stuff and like the calamity and everything, it turns out that there is a land bridge between Taldore and Wildmount currently in this time frame. So I'll have to adjust the map and make that land bridge.
Like up near Whitestone and stuff.
Yeah, so because it's close anyway.
Yeah.
Like if you look at if you scroll up a little bit in Discord and you look at that map, you can see that map almost looks like they are already connected. They technically aren't. But Gwessar and Wildmount are very, very close together. But apparently during the calamity, that land bridge is destroyed. But anyway, you do make your way from Arvid's farm, which is where most of you had been staying, to kind of avoid Stormhaven for the time being. And I have no idea how long it would actually take you to get from here to here. But we'll say it's going to be a few days at the very least. Also, since you just moved Aster over there, we talked a little bit about Aster's size in comparison. So a direwolf is the size of a horse, and I didn't really want to make that token that big. Essentially, that's really what it boils down to. Is I didn't want her taking up that much space.
You didn't want her to be a large-sized creature.
Exactly. So that being said, she's still a very large animal. We're probably at the very least the size of like a Great Dane, probably a little bit bigger. So a halfling could probably ride her. None of you can, obviously, but she's big, so she takes up a lot of that 5 foot square. Um,
Well, if Griswold dies, I know what I'm doing.
Right?
yes, but she's not. But she's not a horse. But she's not a horse, so she's not the size of a true direwolf. So she is obviously, as we mentioned when you found her, probably a bit of a hybrid between a regular wolf and a direwolf. So let me pull up my notes here. With about, we'll say, a day or so left in your journey, you come upon what you assume is the last inn before reaching Mageshear. It is called the Radiant Maiden. It's probably like I guess, consider maybe like a medium-sized inn. It's got kind of a moderately sized stable in the back. And you can see that you're getting there close to evening. It's getting dark, and you can see that there is kind of a warm, welcoming light coming in from the windows. Um, and again, speaking of Aster, in most instances, she will have to stay outside. She is, again, a big wolf, which will be upsetting to most common people. Um, so you would be able to. I don't know if you would again, and I guess this would be a question uh, for Signe. If you, I don't know if you would want to like tie her up, or if you would trust her to just hang out in the stable and not attack horses or whatever, wherever you want to leave her. Um, but she would need to decide.
All right, Aster, it's time to make friends with the horses.
I'll sleep outside with her.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I will too.
Yeah,
She's
so
pretty
do
good
an
company.
animal handling check to make sure she doesn't eat the horses.
That seems unnecessary. Why would Signe care if she's the horses?
This is true. And it didn't really matter which you rolled. That was just for
Because
fun.
we'll
I wasn't
have to
actually going
pay
to.
for it.
That was completely out of character. Callum is completely on board with yes. Let's not kill the horses.
So yeah, regardless, even if you rolled a 1, I wasn't actually going to make her eat the horses. I just thought it'd be fun. But yeah, with a 15, absolutely, she's totally going to listen to you and not eat the horses. So you can hear, from the sounds of the inn, it does sound like there are probably quite a few people inside, and you can hear what sounds like stringed instrument being played. So lute, guitar, whatever you want to call it. And here, this is where I will attempt a little more immersion. Got some talking. We got some guitar, lute music here. So stepping in, and remember, you all probably would have been kind of bundled up at this point, because it is the beginning of the year and it's a bit chilly outside. So stepping in from the cold, the heat of the inn is very comforting, but you realize rather quickly that it's bordering on being way too hot in here. That you can see people like that are sort of in their shirt sleeves, and the people that are sitting close to the fire have like sort of sweat on their brow. Looking around the common room, you can see that it's mostly humans and halflings. There are a couple of dwarves, but in the back, you notice what appears to be a furbolg that is speaking to a hooded figure wearing a mask. It's kind of like a masquerade mask, the one that only like covers like your eyes and nose. The mouth is exposed. But yeah, you can see that there is a young bard woman, probably in her 20s, playing the guitar up on a small little stage, sort of not in the center of the room. It's a little bit towards the back and away from the fire. People are generally not paying much mind, and you can see that there is a large kind of burly man, got a thick mustache, behind the bar. There are also, it's the ground floor is, you can see what you would expect. It's tables and chairs and food and drink, and then there are stairs that lead up, and then you can see that there are rooms on the second floor where you would obviously rent a room to stay.
The person in the mask in the back. I know there were a couple of Dreams with Callum where masks may or may not have been involved. Is that a familiar looking mask?
Not really. It the figure overall looks. Well, anybody who's interested in this figure, you can do a perception check.
Yep.
Some nice guidance rolls.
Yep.
You can see that it does. It appears to be a female. Hood is up. Wearing black lipstick. Looking very emo, but long black hair that's sort of streaming out from underneath the hood. You have a pretty good suspicion that that's Rhea. The mask, is just a white mask, like a white porcelain mask. The eyes are sort of like, there's like something on the eyes, like they're like, I don't know if they're like black, kind of like blackout things, but you can tell that, like, you would assume with a 19 that she's probably doing that to hide her own eyes, which would probably draw attention given the fact that her actual eyes are black and red.
Should I go get us a couple of rooms?
Might be a good idea. At the very least, a drink and a table.
Okay, I'll go get that.
I don't really need a room, so that'll be great, thanks.
Yeah, I can sleep outside with Aster tonight, sis.
Okay. I guess I'll get us 4 rooms. And she goes off to get 4 rooms, a table, and a round for everybody.
Johan probably doesn't need a room either. He doesn't sleep.
Well, I still like to pretend to sleep.
So, this is kind of like the final stop, like as I mentioned. So, we'll say it's 50 silver per room for the night, and then it's just like a silver for drinks.
Okay, she will give 3 gold for all of that. I think I did the math correctly. Or maybe I
50 silver
rounded
is 5
to...
gold.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, I rounded that incorrect.
Yeah.
So 5 gold a room. That's an expensive room.
I mean, are you happy I paid people who worked at the farm now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
All right then. 2 rooms and a table, please. And she will give.
It's Edgar is the big mustachioed man behind the bar. And yeah, there is definitely price gouging being done here because they know that they're the last stop before civilization. It's about a day journey to get to Mageshear from here. So they kind of there's definitely price gouging going on because they know, well, you can either stay here or you can go sleep in the wilderness, your choice, right?
Totally.
Prime location.
And it is a particularly nice inn, as the Radiant Maiden, and the clientele seem to be behaving themselves. You know, you've been in inns that people are rowdy and screaming, and this seems to be much more of like, you don't see people getting absolutely hammered drunk, and there's not a lot. There's probably people playing some cards, but it's not like there's crazy gambling each other up and stuff like that. And you kind of maybe get the impression that it's because of Edgar and his sort of intimidating stature that he probably keeps people in line and makes sure that nothing like that happens.
Certainly a pleasant establishment.
Seems a little expensive.
Agreed. But, well, money causes its own problems. In any case, have you all spotted our friend over there?
The Furbolg?
Well, no, the littler one.
The one speaking with the Furbolg.
Ah, yes. Sorry, I'm a little distracted at the moment. I didn't notice.
It's all right.
Now watch, 2 weeks from now, I'll find out that furbolgs don't exist yet.
Hey, I'm still sticking with if you don't do an Irish accent for a furball, you're fucking wrong.
Well, prepare to be disappointed.
In any case, I say we enjoy a drink until their conversation is over. I'm not sure what they are discussing, but best not to interrupt the contents.
Well, I'll do what I do best then. And he picks up his I assume like metal glass of wine, a cup of wine, and take out his pipe and head over to the bar and just listen to the music and probably for the rest of the night just try and pick up on whatever stories.
Alrighty. Also, I think
Right, that would. Oh, sorry.
no, I think didn't Pumat Sol was a furbolg, right?
Yep.
Didn't Matt Mercer give him a Canadian accent?
Well,
Yeah.
he kind of,
Kind
like
of
a
like that?
Minnesota sort of, yeah.
Like the only reason why I'm saying the Irish thing is because Furbolgs are literally
Furbolgs are
Irish mythology.
Right. Yeah, and they don't look like
I
cow
mean,
people.
so are a lot of things in D&D.
Especially Fae.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Fae everything is pretty much them. Anyway, sorry. Ragnar was doing what?
Ragnar would have just waved the others over to a table.
I will join you.
Callum would join, but he's very clearly just not quite paying attention to whatever's going on at the table. He's much more invested in keeping an eye on the conversation going on across the room.
So
So
in
he's
doing that, you
Yeah, I
would
was-
notice that
go ahead.
Ray is not talking. Like you can see, if you're like her mouth is not moving at all. You get the idea that the furbolg is mainly talking, and she seems to be paying attention. But number one, you can't really see what her eyes are doing because of the mask. But you see that her mouth isn't moving. So one of two things is happening: either she's speaking to him in some way telepathically, or she's just not talking.
Callum would take note of this, but make no comment on it for the time being.
When we're all sitting together, I'm gonna kind of just like, you want me to get your sister's attention? It doesn't seem as if she's very interested in what her friend is saying.
Oh, I mean, if we're gonna approach her, she probably wants some sort of code name, right?
I was going to just say I could bring her over here.
Given what she's here investigating, best not to spook whoever she's talking with. We have time. We know where she is. She's not going anywhere without us seeing it.
I say we let her be for now. She'll come over when she's ready.
Very good. Then I will pick up my drink and Matt, can I just go? Does anyone in here look like they are adventurers? Like they are also like maybe mercenaries or anything like that?
No, I mean you may get the impression that Edgar, the barkeep, may have been at one point in his life, but everybody else seems to be just general travelers and merchants.
Well, then I'll go up to him and I'll order another drink and I'll just start talking with him back and forth about if he's heard anything about cults and how I was recently in Stormhaven and there's been an uptick in it and all that stuff. Just trying to prod any information I can out of him.
Wow, no foreplay or anything.
Yeah, do a persuasion check.
Wow.
He brought the lube.
It's just straight to
persuasion.
cults.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that we're adventurers, right? Like we're not just here for a drink.
Yeah.
Like I mean, so I don't. Yeah. All right. So yeah, as long as
We
we're
did
not
show
like
up with a giant
undercover.
wolf.
Yeah.
I mean, Callum and Arvid could probably pass themselves off as regular people if they really needed to.
I would
but
say
the rest-
Callum just looks like a peasant.
But the rest of you probably couldn't. You're all either too heavily armed or, literally a suit of armor. You're
Oh,
not.
yeah.
You're not.
I'm just fucking around. It's like just straight in, nothing. Just cults.
Well, yeah. I know, but I'm just saying that like he's saying that you look like adventurers, and yeah, like Arvid, you could probably pull it off. Callum could pull it off that you're not adventurers if you needed to, but you're guilty by association with the company that you keep here. So, but yeah, like he would tell you that there has been some weird stuff going on in Mageshear, but it's not uncommon for weird things to happen in Mageshear because everything about Mageshear is weird. That I mean, he can kind of maybe give you a little bit of a history essentially on Mageshear in general, which is that it's kind of a haven for eccentrics and for people that want to perform rituals and experiments that would be frowned upon in more I don't know what you would call it.
Cool.
Like respected.
Yeah, more
institutions.
like the Nexus would look down on a lot of the things that people would do in Mageshear. Like those experiments would not happen in Stormhaven. So yeah, it's a lot of crazy people. It's the entirety of Mageshear is split in two because of the crazy things that have gone on there. And you get, I guess in some ways it's kind of like a bohemian place too, where you get like the free spirits and the hippies kind of want to sometimes hang out there because again, there's not a lot of rule of law in Mageshear. People just generally kind of keep to themselves to do their own thing and leave everybody else alone. But that being said, there's also a bit of crime that pops up when people do that kind of stuff because you're not going to run to the authorities when bad things happen because you are probably doing things that you shouldn't be doing as well. So yeah, I wouldn't go so far to call it lawless.
It's
But-
Vegas.
Yeah,
Like the police are just for show.
well, the police are probably easily bought. I mean, there is a guard that's there, but yeah, everybody kind of turns the other cheek as far as like, oh, okay, well, you're doing something that you shouldn't do. Give me a little bit of money, and I'll pretend it didn't happen, and all that kind of stuff. But it does seem, if you mention cults to him, he would say, yeah, I mean, like, it's a pretty good place to go if you're a cult, because people are generally going to just leave you alone most of the time. There is very little religious. There's actually only one. I guess they're kind of a cult in of themselves, but there are followers of Melora, the Wild Mother, who are there. But all of the other churches and things that exist there have essentially been converted into other uses, taken over for arcane purposes, or one of the temples was just turned into an orphanage. And there is not actually a temple of Melora. They actually run the cemetery in Mageshear.
All right. And then, yeah, after I'm done talking with him, I'll still just sit and bullshit with him and kind of try to do the same thing as Arvid and just listen around for anything out of the ordinary.
Let's see. Arvid, roll a d20. I'll see if there's any other sort of like rumors that you hear as you're. Ooh. So you would hear two things, and it's that it's kind of expanding upon a thing that you'd already kind of heard, and that there had been rumors of digging too deep in Dathladur, and that there were rumors now you've heard of abyssal voices echoing in the deep. And additionally, people are claiming, and even the person that you was talking about this that you overheard was sort of laughing at the idea of mind flayers coming up from the Underdark. And then also you had heard rumors of people challenging the Temple of Bahamut in Vasselheim. Essentially, because the Temple of Bahamut and the followers of Bahamut are, they're not technically the rulers of Vasselheim, but they have a lot of sway, and there is a bit of a discontent about the amount of authority that the Temple of Bahamut has in Vasselheim, and people are, I wouldn't go so far as to say rebelling against it, but there are definitely some loud voices being spoken up against them.
Nice.
That's mainly what you hear. You would say that from what you heard, you would probably believe that the Vasselheim part probably seems a little bit more reliable than the Mind Flayers, but you don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, unless he's specifically asked to help people, Arvid will just be drinking wine and, smoking his pipe, just listening to the music and just relaxing.
Ragna, make a perception check.
Okay.
Never mind.
And I will note for people, if you're within 30 feet of Arvid, you can receive guidance.
You're probably within 30 feet of him if you're all just sitting in the main common room.
10.
Because he can just do it by waving his hands around and just looks like he's just being an idiot, but he's giving guidance to people.
Just imagine him looking over at Regna, noticing her trying to like notice something and helping in the background.
It's not quite as useful as Ragna's sort of like aura that she puts off, like, because you actually have to purposely wave your hands around. But I would say with a 10, you're not certain, but occasionally you feel like the bard is kind of staring at you. That's it.
Yep. If Ragna glances at the bard, is there anything that she notices about her?
Not really.
Okay.
You would guess that she is human potentially. She could be a half elf, but she looks like she's probably in her early 20s. Quite accomplished for someone as young as she seems to be. But nothing strikes you out of the ordinary about her.
Yeah. She'll probably just chalk it up to, must be feeling things, and go back to her drink.
Is Signa doing anything, or is she just drinking?
Actually, not drinking at all. Gonna bring out some people food to Aster for being such a good girl. Um, and I just like to get a dark mug with just water and not necessarily brewed, but just kind of keep an eye on things.
How about Johan? Is he doing anything? He doesn't need to drink either, so.
I mean, not in particular. Just, I mean, more of the same. Either engaging in conversation with the people at the table, but it seems like a lot of them are, like listening to what's going on around us and keeping track of that. So I would also just keep watch.
Alrighty.
Yeah, Ragna. If anyone asks, we're here on business, and that's all you say. All right?
Okay. What kind of business?
You just say business, and you leave it at that.
Okay.
I mean, you two actually have a valid cover story.
Yeah, but still.
You there because you work for the Sustrian Farms.
Yeah, but you're the boss man.
Yeah, you have a legitimate cover story.
Oh, so
Yeah.
we say we're on business regarding the farm?
Yeah, you just leave it at that.
Okay.
Oh, I know. I take that back. You're actually decent with people. But you should probably still just leave it to we're here on business.
Ragna just tilts her head, just slightly confused.
That's a strong statement, and it doesn't give away a ton of information. You know, just kind of keep your head low.
You know, I just realized I think that Mageshear might be the second largest town I've been to. Not counting the Feywild. I mean, usually I spent all my time in Storthaven, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, places we went in the Feywild, it's certainly likely to be bigger than any of those as well.
Feywild feels different, though. I mean, it was on another plane of existence.
Suppose that's a fair point. Distance and travel and size did seem a bit vaguer there.
It will be interesting to see another material plane town.
Matt. So where I am at the bar. Where is Rhea to me, and where is the group to me? Like, like when I pass by either one, if I went to the other?
So essentially, there would both be to your back. Um, the party would be closer to you. Um, so if you're just thinking about it like this way, like because I don't have a map for the thing, is that like the bar would be, if you're looking at it just a rectangle. On the left hand side of that rectangle is the bar, and then the party would be sort of sitting towards the middle at the tables, and then in the upper right of the rectangle would be where Rhea and the Furbolg are sitting. She would be facing towards you guys, and the The Furbolg's back would be to you.
Well, then I will take my drink back to the table, and I just want to see if I could. I mean, I know you said our eyes are kind of covered, but just like if I walk towards the table, I'm gonna keep like an eye on her and see if she notices, and just like give her a nod so she surely recognizes us, and then just sit down at the table. And I will tell the group. I'll say, well, I talked to the barkeep. Apparently, Mageshear is a good spot for what he said would be for a cult to go, because they apparently the people who are there kind of just leave everyone to their own business and don't really pry too much. So,
So it's a den of
does-
scum and villainy.
Sounds exactly like the kind of place Neril's followers would like. They tend to prefer keeping a low profile.
in Signe, Stormhaven is a place of many laws and many rules, and look what happened to your family. I wouldn't say that just because there's no law doesn't mean that it's any worse off than there.
Did I ever say that Stormhaven wasn't? She says with a smug grin.
I've been around many people that I would trust much more than people I've met in those types of areas.
Hey now. Easy up, okay?
Well, considering I'm away from the group, I'll strike up conversation with the bard if they're not singing.
They're not singing, but they're playing.
You're actually quite skilled at math, aren't you?
She kind of nods, you know, like with the oh thanks, but like I'm concentrating. You kind of get the idea that she is not the most experienced bard, and she's kind of not capable of walking and chewing gum at the same time.
If that's the case, I'll wait till there's a lull with the
Yeah.
playing.
And I have I'm actually just doing something behind the scenes here, just to give everybody a general idea about what's happening. So like, give me a second here. So you get the impression that Rhea knows that you're there. She's like just making no attempt to actually like engage any of you.
I know
Can
she
we-
knows I know.
Can we tell at all what the Furbolg is talking about from here?
You're probably not close enough for that,
Okay.
but I mean, if you want to attempt to move closer, you can certainly do that.
No, Callum would trust Rhea enough to be like, yeah, if she's going to get the information, she's going to get the information. Better not blow it if it's something important.
Also, I noticed something with Roll20 when I was doing stuff the other day, and this is the same thing that's happening now, is when I've been dragging tokens, it's not pulling the correct information. So like when I was pulling over, I just pulled over tokens, and it's not transferring the information properly. So like when I did this, Arvid has 14 hit points. Like,
You know what? That was happening. That's been happening for a while now, on and off. Now that you say that, I've had that happen a couple times.
it's kind of annoying.
I'm pretty sure I have 63 hit points, but I can survive with 14.
I know. Yeah. So I just like, this is obviously just this is some random bullcrap that I have. I didn't actually build. I just took a default room that I had So this is not a accurate representation of the bar, but it's not empty, and it, this is the token for the bard. Rhea and the furball would be like over here, and the bar would be over here.
Is there anything going around at tables near them?
There probably isn't a whole lot of they're probably pretty much by themselves. Like the way that I am envisioning it here is that you guys would be sort of in the out in the center, and there's like round tables and everything, and along the walls over here would be more like booths, I guess, and so she would be sort of sitting in a booth.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but Callum is willing to literally just sit here and wait until she's done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
I mean, I'm not in a rush.
Right
What
now
is
would just
time
be
to a Warforged?
right now would just be idly chatting, similar to the things that I mentioned.
So within a uh, window of opportunity, I suppose that for the downtime on the music, at the very least, Arvid, the bard would introduce herself as Ali Finbella, and that she is a traveling bard, and that she just goes around to different places and tries to make money playing music.
Well, yeah, you're very skilled, Miss Fenbella. So,
Why does that face look so familiar?
I think it's based on a real person. Somebody did art, but yeah, it does look familiar to me as well. It kind of like to me. It kind of looks like Emma Watson, a little bit
Is that?
Hmm,
Hold on.
in the eyes.
a little bit.
But then I can't remember her name here. I'm gonna try and look her up.
In any case, I don't mean to sidetrack us. I was just
No,
like,
no, you're fine.
oh, is that something relevant to this, or is that just my brain misfiring?
It's just a token I found that was cool looking, so I used it. So there's no relevance in that, but yeah.
well, do you travel around a lot or just primarily around Mageshear?
I'm originally from Wildmount. I'd been just traveling around the northern part of the Silra. I came into Vasselheim.
Oh, interesting. Have you heard any wonderful tales?
Unfortunately, not, and that's kind of been disappointing. Although I'm not really much of a writer as far as stories or songs. I just mainly play music. I'm not really a very good singer.
Well, if you're interested, I could tell you some tales of where I'm from.
Sure, and I'll have her stop playing music since she's talking to you now.
But there is a cost.
Oh yeah.
The cost is there anyone here that you have your eye on?
She kind of raises an eyebrow.
Yeah. I'm basically trying to like see who she looks at in different ways around the room.
You can do a perception check, I guess.
Perception or insight.
That too.
Uh, I'll do insight to get advantage. Yeah, I'll definitely take the advantage.
I would say that like when you were, sitting there listening to her before, you probably noticed that she was occasionally making eyes at Ragna.
Of the romantic variation or just general curiosity variation?
It probably, I don't know that you can determine that even with a 23 if
It's worth a
someone's
go. No, fair
looking at
enough.
somebody romantically or just like looking at her. But you
Is it a
noticed it
wistful glare?
Yeah.
Stare?
longingly
She
looking
rests.
at her.
Yes.
Rachel McAdams, that's the other person I was thinking of that token kind of looks like, but then I actually looked up Rachel McAdams and it doesn't really look like her as much as I thought it did.
Felicia Day? Question mark.
But nah, I mean she's got red hair, but
Yeah, that's all I'm throwing that out for.
yeah, I agree. That token does look like somebody. I just can't. I think it might be the artist like blended different people together essentially to like make that artwork. But yeah, it does look familiar. Anywho,
I see you have your eyes on a specific someone.
and you can see that she just her face just turns beet red, and she's like, no.
Don't worry, there's no need to be embarrassed. But the price of my stories is you have to strike up a conversation with them.
She sort of just like scrunches up her nose, just like, I don't think nope, nope. And she just starts playing music again.
That's good enough for now.
All right. Well, I do have one other thing, Matt. Since I don't know much about the spell, if on the original casting of Detect Thoughts, they don't know you're prying into their mind. They only know that if you go in deeper, right?
I believe that is correct.
Because it doesn't say anything about them knowing until like you try to pry more.
Do you have something that casts that?
Helm of telepathy.
Oh, right.
I'm pretty sure that's correct, and I only say that because it's been in a couple games now where people have had that, and that's how it's been run. Of like, if you delve deeper, people know, but if you're just
It says
scanning.
it says if it fails, you gain insight deeper. But if it succeeds, the spell ends. Either way, the target knows you're probing into its mind. But it doesn't say that for the first part.
Yeah, it's kind of the difference between looking at someone's surface thoughts of, I'm peckish, and going deeper into, I'm hungry for human flesh.
So yeah.
All right, so I'm going to try to use it on the Furbolg. And according to the item, it's not my DC, it's the item's DC. I believe it's a 13. Wisdom save, I believe it is, right?
Yes. But I think the first level one doesn't require a save at all. It's only if you go deeper.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Oh.
If the creature you choose has an intelligence 3 or lower, it doesn't speak any language, the creature is unaffected. If you probe deeper, target must have wisdom saving throw. So yeah. Okay. So what are you?
Yeah, I'll just surface thoughts.
Surface thoughts. Two things in particular. He thinks that Ray is a really good listener, and he also thinks that she's extremely odd. But he's enjoying talking to her, and you get the impression that even though it seems that he is doing all of the the talking, that they've had conversations before. He doesn't. You don't get the impression that they're strangers to each other, I guess.
Okay. All right. I'll relay the information to the group and just let them know that it's probably going to be a while. He's enjoying himself, so he'll probably talk to her for quite a while.
Well, I suppose we plan to stay the night anyway.
I'll give you this to you as well. Um, as a surface thought, he does not know her as Rhea. He, in his mind, he is calling her Yara.
Okay. I won't say that out loud right now, just in case. But I will, whichever one's closer to me, whether it be Signe or Ragna, lean over and just whisper, does Rhea have any nicknames that she goes by?
She doesn't.
Um,
At least not Yara.
no. I mean, nothing but the usual terms of endearment from mother, father, or sibling.
Maybe Ragnar called her Ray Ray or something. But
He'll just kind of, right. Well, I don't know who's, and I'll kind of like look around and I'll tell you exactly later. But she doesn't seem to be going by Rhea.
You shouldn't bring any attention to her then.
Agreed. While we're all sitting here, Matt, I will just pull out a deck of cards and start dealing them, and we'll play some random game to pass the time.
Looking like we fit in. Good call.
Ragna is proficient in random gaming set. Maybe she is proficient in card.
Fair enough.
Callum will play poorly.
what's it called? There's a what's the dice game that you play? It did it in
Oh,
it did it in
rollies.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh,
Not Rollies,
yeah, I know
Pirates
what
of the
you're talking about.
Yeah, like where you roll a number of dice, and then the other person has to guess like if it's higher or lower, if you're bluffing essentially. Like I have 3 6s, and you're like you're lying. I can't remember. There's a name for that. There's a name for that game, but I can't remember what it's called.
I have no idea.
You know,
right
with
now.
pirates, I always
I
assume
remember
it's
from
like
the movie.
Dead
I know
Man's
what you're
Bluff or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's actually a fun game to play. You can play it with cards too, actually, but
Well, Griswold's game is going to be a drinking game, and it's red or black. You choose red or black. If you get it right, you drink. If you get it wrong, or if you get it wrong, you drink. If you get it right, you tell someone else to drink.
Liar's
Dare.
dice.
Mhm.
Is,
Liar's Dice, that's what it is.
Nah, I'll pass.
I can play.
I suppose we've got nothing better to do to pass the time. Why not have a little fun?
So yeah, he'll just start going around, just playing and bullshitting, and he's kind of like turned off the whole worry mode where he like is constantly taking in his surroundings. He's kind of just relaxing.
Though I'll warn you, I do not have money for drinks.
I can cover them.
How are y'all so broke? Didn't we just like each walk out with like 800 gold?
I bought a sword.
You also bought a sword.
A lot can be done with that money over half a year.
That's more money than most people make in a lifetime.
I bought a very good sword.
And by extension, more than most will ever need for themselves.
Anyway,
I'm gonna go
I
outside
can-
with Aster.
Yeah, I'll head back over to the table.
for the evening, or just to go say hello.
No, I think I'm all set for the evening.
Okay, well, shout if you need anything.
Just a moment. I'll be right back, and Ragnar will hurry after Signe.
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you normally like drinking and being boisterous. Are you okay?
Just kind of worried about what this axe means, you know?
It wouldn't just be a gift.
Not usually, kid.
Oh. I mean, maybe he got a bigger axe?
Here's hoping.
And Ragnar kind of starts getting a worried look in her eyes, and she glances down. Should we have gone to find him?
Nah, he's a grown man. I'm sure
we gotta-
we'll up
gonna-
sooner or later.
Ragnar would kind of just nod and say, okay. But, if you want to talk, just let me know.
Yeah, besides, Dad would kill us if we didn't keep an eye on Rhea.
Yes, he would, especially now that she's finally awake.
Worried about her, though, too.
She is acting different, but we did know that things could be different using the Sunstone.
Yeah, I'm just a little uneasy about where this might be going.
Well, we can keep an eye on her as her older sisters.
You're damn straight, kid. Besides, I gotta go make sure the horses are still intact. I haven't quite brought her out the rest of her dinner.
Okay. Right now, we'll give a very awkward hug before heading back to the group.
Did you guys ever buy, or did any of you have horses?
I just summoned my horse.
Yeah.
Ragnar
Signe
can
will-
summon a horse.
I'm almost as fast as a horse.
Regardless of your armor, Signe will pick you up, spin you around real quick, and set you down. Give you a little pet on the head.
I
Yay.
can turn into a horse.
And it's,
So you all don't
Callum
need
can-
horses because you can summon them and turn into them. I got it. And one of you is as fast as one.
Well, he's as fast as a horse, but for how long? You know.
No, I am literally as fast as a horse all the time.
I also have long strider.
So
Technically, I'm 5 feet per round shorter than a riding horse, but I'm just as fast as a war horse.
So no need for. I mean, I guess William is the only straggler.
William's a
I can
rogue.
double dash.
Yeah, that's true.
William can ride on one of the summoned horses, or on the person that turns into a
honestly, Ragna is probably the only straggler.
Oh yeah.
horse. Ragnar gets a horse. She can summon one.
That's right. You can also make your own horse.
Yes.
I mean, if I can solve that one. I've still got funds set aside from the farm, so I can just buy 2 horses and a carriage.
Well, I mean, the biggest issue with that is that like it's very easy when you're playing D&D to like forget that you have horses and carts to like lug around. So just making sure I couldn't remember if you guys had them, so that because we need to keep track if you do. Like oh, we're gonna go into this dungeon or we're gonna go into this cave or whatever. Okay, well, what are you gonna do with your horses? You know, you gotta like they don't just necessarily hang around and wait for you for 5 days.
We've
Probably
got
get eaten by
Aster.
wildlife.
But yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a issue at the moment. So yeah, I brought in some tokens for Rhea and the Furbolg. So you at this point probably all kind of get the impression that you're all kind of at a standoff. Is that Rhea is making no attempt to talk to you, and you're making no attempt to talk to her. So
Well, instead of just the game you wanted to play of like pick a color and drink, why don't you change it to pick a color and truth or drink?
Griswold kind of just raised an eyebrow and just, any game you want, friend.
I've heard of such a thing before.
So
I prefer it.
if you lose, you either have to tell a truth or the drink.
And who asks the questions?
Any of us.
I
Seems
believe
fair.
this works better with somebody who actually remembers their past.
Or can at least get drunk.
I'll sit this one out.
Here we go. Now I got a table to sit at.
Well, Ragnar, do you like to participate as well?
Sure, I've never played such a game.
Yeah.
I have so many things I can put in here. Here, look. Have a pair of shoes.
So, who wants to go first?
I can. I will guess red.
I will deal a card. Matt, you choose one or two to be red or black.
Who's black?
He would be correct.
Ragna gives a clap. She has won.
Congratulations. Well,
I believe that means she gets to ask someone a question, yes?
if she wishes, yes.
Oh, Arvid, what's your favorite non-Fey food?
My favourite non-Fey food. Well, while I was in Stormhaven, I did quite enjoy the fish. Have you ever tried
Yeah.
eating it raw?
No, I haven't. Did you?
I did. It's actually quite nice if you prepare it properly.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe next time we go to Stormhaven, things will be calm. We'll be able to get some fish, and you can show me how you prepared it.
I'm happy to. So, should I go next or?
Makes sense to me.
And how many colours are there in the deck?
Just two, I assume, if it's fair.
And that's
He will shuffle the cards out in front of you guys so you can see.
so it's red and black, right? Got it. I'll go black.
All right. Also correct.
Ooh, I get to ask for truth. So, Callum,
Yes.
for how long since you last saw someone to before you met us? How long was that period?
Oh. Well, seeing people, not uncommon. Though I assume you mean people who I knew for any length of time, which would be quite a bit longer. To be honest, I hadn't traveled with any group for significant duration since I had left the Druid Grove. So let's see, that would have to be. Oh, probably about 20 years ago now, roughly. I don't always keep track very well.
It's quite some time.
I mean, you certainly meet a lot of interesting people on the road, but I mean, I chose to stay with you all because you are quite capable, and we seem to share at least overlapping goals. And you were the first in that time to meet those criteria, so here we are. Couldn't have chosen a better group for it.
Well, don't we feel just special?
Now, let's see. I would say red.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're all very
Is it-
good at guessing.
Luck is with us. Let's see. Is Signe at the table or is she outside?
I'm outside. I put Aster in the horse stable, so I'm staying out with her for the night.
Well, Ragna, I hate to put this back on you so soon when not everyone's gone, but I do have a question.
Yes?
What was your sister like before the sleeping incident?
Well, she was still rather quiet and shy, very bookish. I admit I didn't see too much of her after I entered the temple and she went to the Nexus. Certainly not so emotionless as she is now. No sort, nor so serious.
Having only known her afterwards, I have a bit of a hard time imagining that, frankly. I mean, no offense by that.
No, it's fine. She's changed both in her personality as well as physically.
Well, we have a bit of a conundrum now.
What do you mean?
Griswold,
She looks totally normal.
does Griswold get a turn? Or since I asked Ragna, does she have to go again?
No,
Griswold is just going to simply say black and turn a card over. And he is the first one to get it wrong.
so you have to drink and tell the truth.
Oh, someone think of a question and he'll just start drinking his beer.
Who's the last person you fell in love with?
The one who brought me to the house. And he just drinks the rest of his beer and goes to get another one.
Truly a shame.
Well, we all can't find affection in the best places. But I do know someone who's showing affection to young Ragnar here.
What?
Oh,
Surely you must have caught her eye early on.
Well, I mean, I noticed her glancing at me once or twice, but I didn't think of anything of it.
I managed to draw that out of her. If you
I think
wish,
Callum, who has not paid attention to any of that interaction, is just doing some quick mental math here of like who they could be talking about.
well, if you wish to go speak to the younger Ali Bella, that's always on the table.
Oh, maybe not right now. She seems busy.
Sure, she'll make some time.
At this point, you see that the furbolg, which you assume is probably who you've noticed, at least Callum probably noticed, has been drinking a fair bit, stepping outside for a moment to relieve himself. So, for at least a moment, Rhea is alone. And her token
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
have her mask on. And we'll just say at this point she has removed her mask.
Furbolg is outside and looks like he might be a minute without even like asking the others. Callum is getting up and just walking over. And would we be interrupting you?
No, you're welcome to join. I wondered why you were taking so long.
Didn't know the nature of engagement here, so didn't want to disturb whatever you were doing. By all means, if you'd prefer us to come over, I'll let the others know.
I suppose I should go over there. I don't believe there's enough room over here.
It does seem like a bit of a tight squeeze.
So,
Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say that she stands up, and for all of you, even again, like she seems even taller than the last time you remembered her. I would estimate that standing up, she's about 6 feet tall. And when you remembered seeing her, last time you saw her, she was maybe 5'8". So it's like either she's wearing, lifts in her shoes, or again, this transformation of her is more than just her eyes. So I think she's taller, standing up taller than Callum at this point.
Oh yeah, by like half a foot.
Yeah. So she's a
Griswold
bit of an intimidating presence at this point.
Griswold's going to return to the table with a bottle of alcohol in his hand and just look at everyone, nod towards Ray and say, "Good to see you, Yara. The Furbolg, is he a good friend of yours?"
She kind of tilts her head to the side a little bit, and she says, "A friend, I suppose."
All right, well, it seems he likes to drink. I have a sudden, and he's gonna look at Arvid, sudden urge to join him. So I will keep him a bit distracted with this here, while you all have a nice conversation, and I will walk out the door as well. And when I get out there, I'll let him finish doing his thing, and I'll just strike up a conversation with him after, and just start sharing a drink with him.
Yep. You would find out his name is Cademan.
Okay. Yeah. And I will just bullshit with him back and forth, making sure we stay outside with a drink for as long as I could possibly keep him out there.
So,
That's a typo.
yeah. So, have you been to Mageshear yet?
For a time, but the mages that I sought out didn't have the information I was looking for.
I see.
But I did do a little bit more research into this, and she pulls out the notebook that you had seen Dresden show you all. The one with the chicken foot scratched on the outside of it.
What were you able to find?
Well, interestingly, I found 3 distinct versions of handwriting. One of which I'm certain of, and 2 which I can make an educated guess on.
I feel as though I have a guess on 2, though not the...
Well, I think it's at least safe to assume that the original author is Yaga the Unclean. The second
Agreed.
person, I'm guessing, is probably Natasha the Dark, Igwil the Dream Witch, or Zabilna, or whatever she wants to call herself these days. But the third person is the one that I'm quite sure of. And that is Neela Dresden.
Ragna would kind of put her hand against her mouth and give a little gasp and be like, I was afraid of this.
Yes, my once best friend and daughter of Nikolai. Seems that he has spirited her away to her mother in Wildmount. When we were in school, she and I developed our own form of shorthand to sort of list spells and incantations and various ingredients, and I recognize that shorthand written in the book. You'd be quite amazed at how cluttered some wizard spellbooks are with the longhand versions of complicated spells, but anyway, she must have spent a significant amount of time preparing this spell, but I am quite certain she's the one that cast it upon me.
Do you have any inclination why?
Not at the moment, but I must be honest, it's not really of much interest to me.
Now that surprises me. Why not?
Well, doesn't really further the goals that I have to find out why she did it. I have the belief that she did it of her own accord. Don't believe that she was coerced into doing anything.
Do you know where she may have gotten it?
Not really. It's possible that it was in the Nexus the entire time, though Dresden Nikolai doesn't seem to think so.
I would probably agree with that statement. Books or artifacts in general that are linked to two powerful magical creatures, such as two previous owners, generally don't turn up places by chance.
And she says, well, I suppose Ragna could ask her new friend if she has any ideas, but again, it's not really something that I'm particularly concerned with at the moment. Don't hold any particular vengeance or any desire for vengeance against her. Don't really care.
What is your objective, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I believe that I share some mutual interest with Callum, in fact.
Hmm.
Considering what the spell did to me, I find it imperative to stop what I saw.
And that was what exactly?
The undead.
Char's work. Not Char. I'm sorry. Shane is having a brain fart here.
Shar does exist. She's considered a lesser demigod, I believe, in our setting here.
Yeah. But you know who I mean. I'm having the biggest brain fart right now.
Nerul.
Nerul, thank you. I've said that name so many times.
I don't even know the correct pronunciation, if it's Nerul or Nerul or. But yeah,
I assume
whatever.
it's Nerul just because that sounds better.
Nerul does sound better, but yeah. Yeah.
And what have you found on that front?
Well, not a whole lot. I wasn't specifically, again, going after cult members, as you mentioned that you were interested in. I'm more interested in finding magic to use against the undead. It's why I've actually made friends with Cademan. He currently knows some spells that I don't, and it's something I hope to remedy in short order, but for the time being, he can serve a useful purpose for me. And the way she says that is very, very cold, and all of you kind of get like a little bit of a, you know, not necessarily like a chill down your spine, but you kind of get that like she's not a very warm person, and when she's saying friend, she doesn't
This
really
is
mean
purely utilitarian.
yes, that he is useful to her.
Well, whether you take this advice or not, it's the same I tried to give to Callum. Just don't over focus on the one thing. It'll allow you to see a lot more than you think.
She sort of just she looks at you with the expressionless look on her and just sort of looks back. I mean, she looks at you and then looks back. She doesn't make any sort of form of acknowledgement, but other than looking at you. But that's kind of what you expect from her. Um, and she looks at Calaman, and you possess no magical abilities, correct?
Very little, I'm afraid. A bit of healing magic, some knowledge of the functions of the humanoid form and how to manipulate it, but nothing nearly as expansive as those gathered here.
He looks slightly disappointed. Um, and I don't know if you guys saw it. Like, so I posted a couple of spells in there. One that would, I guess, Ragnar could use, and another one much later, I guess, Arvid could use. Because it's like a 8th level spell. I'm crazy. I don't remember what it is.
6th level.
6th level. Yeah. It's not related to what I was just mentioning. I just remember when we were talking about spells. Like, oh, I posted some spells. Oh, and it looks like the I didn't do anything, but it looks like the tokens reset. So now I can actually your hit points are displayed properly for some reason.
Yay, having the right HP is nice.
So in particular, when she's talking about it, like she mentions Cademan's ability to cast the Harrow spell,
Interesting.
which she is incapable of casting right now, but it is one that she is interested in learning how to cast. And for those of you that don't know what the Harrow spell does, it basically consecrates ground permanently, I believe, so that no undead can, like, no dead bodies can become undead in that space.
Well,
Do you mean Hallow?
yeah,
That's
that
what I
should be
meant.
Hallow.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, like
I'm sitting here looking up Harrow.
Sorry.
Like, I don't know this spell.
No.
Arrow
Sorry,
came up
said
for
it
me
wrong.
though.
but yeah,
Probably stick with our homebrew.
like your sisters, if you need somewhere to stay in the southern part of Asilra, because obviously Stormhaven's not the most happy to see your family at the moment, you can always stay at the farm.
Well, it's why I've decided to not use my own name.
The offer's still there.
I believe that Cademan and I will be going to Wildmount. And she not to find Neela, because again, I don't actually care about her, but there are some ingredients that I might be able to procure there that could be helpful in my research.
I see.
Well, if you need anything fae related, let me know and I'll see what I can get sent.
Unfortunately, it will be nothing related to the Fae, but it will be certainly difficult to procure some of it. At this point, probably Caedmon would have, regardless of his conversations with Griswold, would have wanted to come back in.
I'll take outside drinking.
So he would come over, introduce himself.
Pleasure to meet you. Name's Callum.
Oh, pleasure to meet you folks as well. My name is Caedmon.
Care to sit with us?
Sure.
We've just been speaking with your travel companion, Yara.
Oh yeah, she's not much of a conversationalist, but she's a good listener, and we got to talking and found out we had some similar interest and took an interest in some of the services that I might be able to provide to her, and got along great.
I see. What sort of services might those be, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, the people in my family know a little bit of magic and mostly sort of druidic stuff, and kind of nods at Arvid. Don't have any formal training or anything like that, but just stuff that I learned from my family, and could didn't really think much of it myself, but Yara here took quite an interest to it, so decided I would help her out. I didn't really have a whole lot going on, just traveling around, seeing if I can help people out. Stopped over
Frankly.
in Mageshear for a little while, and didn't really find anyone that needed helping, or at least anybody that needed helping that I could help. So
Well, certainly traveling for the aid of others is a noble goal.
what brings you all here? You heading to Mageshear?
That was the plan initially, yes. I believe it still is.
Yes, I kind of run a farm nearby, and I'm in the business of setting up contacts, so I'm heading up to Mageshear.
Oh well, be careful. There's a lot of strange folks in there.
I'm quite strange myself, as you can see.
Anything in particular we should be worrying about? Better to know ahead of time.
Well, the usual stuff that you hear in cities, people disappearing and things like that.
Understood.
But yeah, you didn't really describe him, but I mean, he's a pretty large guy. I mean, furbolgs tend to be. He's broad-shouldered. You can see, got like a long red beard, and hair is kind of pulled back into a kind of a loose, sort of like a bun almost. Kind of got a warm, sort of pleasant look on his face. Looks quite, like a nice guy, and totally, you think probably being, I don't want to say manipulated, but like, in good faith, trying to help out Rhea, and Rhea probably not. I want to say not in good faith, but certainly the camaraderie that he feels for her is not reciprocated.
Their relationship may be slightly misunderstood.
Yes. But you can kind of get, the way, in speaking of her, he I don't want to go so far as to say awe, but you kind of get the idea that he's kind of like, wow, she's, I mean, she does give off a presence, and he seems to be quite impressed by that. He seems a little bit, he seems a little naive, a little, very, very trusting for sure. So there's definitely a power balance as far as this relationship is concerned. And it's not in his favor.
Well, all we can do on the grand scheme of things, is raise a glass and wish you both well on your travels.
Are you both staying here tonight?
Well, yeah, that was the plan, and then we were gonna head out to, I guess, maybe to Stormhaven, see about a potential transport to Wildmount, one of those airships. I've never been on one of those before.
They do seem quite the interesting constructions, don't they?
Yeah, a little bit scary. I will admit, but yeah, should be interesting for sure. And there is I don't know how I'm gonna describe it. It's not shown on the map, but there would be like a skyport. It's a little bit outside of Stormhaven to the south. It's not within the city limits itself.
Well, we're staying as well, so by all means, let's. Have you had a drink yet?
Oh, quite a few.
Care for another?
Sure.
Callum will slide him his mostly full one.
And he'll down it in like 2 gulps.
Well, what shall we do with the rest of our evening then?
And you can see that Rhea stands up and says, I'll be going to bed early morning, and you all enjoy your conversations.
Of course, safe travels if we don't see each other tomorrow.
Indeed. And she walks by, and when she gets to you, Callum, she I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a sleight of hand check. She's gonna pass you something. See if the two of you can meet up on
Oh
together.
goodness! How am I at sleight of hand? I'm not terrible at it. Let's see.
She's gonna try and slide something. Let's see if you can. Oh, yeah, okay. I was gonna see if you fumbled it or if you could pick up on her sleight of hand. So yeah, she something sort of like kind of roundish, feels a bit like a stone. She slides that into your hand as she's walking by.
Okay. Callum will just pocket it for now to examine in greater privacy later.
So you all, if you, so I would say, yeah, you all can attempt a perception check if you want to attempt to see what. It's going to be high DC because they combined did a pretty good job.
I was gonna say Arvid's got like eyes on the inside. I'm sure Arvid notices.
Yeah.
Arvid is just a sack of eyeballs in a vague
Arvid sees
humanoid
everything.
bush.
Yes, you did see her. You didn't see exactly what it was, but you did see. She obviously gave him something.
Which is good because Arvid's probably the person that Callum's gonna have to be like, "What is this?"
Also, Arvid doesn't care what they gave. It's just, oh, she gave him something. Okay.
You passed him her number.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Call me.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get the idea that that's probably if there's ever been an asexual being on the face of the earth, you kind of get the idea that that's what Rhea is.
Well, maybe now after
Right.
the change.
Yeah. So, if there's anything that you want to discuss with your newfound Furbolg friend, you can. Otherwise, we can just move on to the morning. Or if
I mean, I'm
drinks enough that she wants to talk to the bard.
Callum might encourage that.
Yeah, like I said, I just put it out there in the universe. It's up to people if you want to go make it work.
You know, Ragnar, you do seem to have drawn a bit of attention. Perhaps you should investigate the source of that.
I suppose I will when she's done. I don't want to bother her.
It seems like you might already be bothering her.
So eventually, I mean, at this point, it's probably getting pretty late, and she would have probably stopped playing at this point because, I mean, obviously the bars are not gonna, they don't go the whole night playing. So she would have probably gotten down from the stage. You know, people would have cheered her a little bit. You know, not, they wouldn't cheer. They would have clapped for her. She's good, but you know, she would have taken her the tips that she got, gone into the bar, and probably gotten something to eat. Maybe paid for her room.
Well, I'm going.
Well, I guess technically, isn't that the thing that you don't have? She could just do that and not have to pay for her room.
The
Isn't that how it works?
entertainer,
Yeah.
the entertainer features is like effectively you can get and have like a reasonable income.
Yeah. So she was successful enough. Her music was good. So she's goes up to the bar and get something to drink and to eat.
Well, I'm going to go outside for fresh air and, well, put my head down for the night.
I suppose I'll go
seems
speak
fair.
with. You said her name was Ali?
Yes, Ali Fenbella. She's from Wildmount.
And she'll kind of glance towards the door where Signe had exited before getting up from the bench and heading over.
I'll be heading outside because I can.
Hello?
Oh, and you see she's very, like, she again turns beet red. And she's like, hi.
My friend was telling me that you wish to speak. Your playing was lovely.
And she just kind of like flustered. I didn't. Well, thank you. And then she's like, wow, you're really pretty.
Oh, thank you.
And then she again turns beet red. She's like, I can't believe I said that out loud. I'm very sorry. That's so embarrassing.
Oh, no, it's fine. I also think you look lovely. Your hair's a lovely shade of red.
She's kind of speechless. I when I was a little girl, I she kind of like a little bit whispers. She's like, I met Zabilna. So now you kind of get that maybe like it's the mark on your face that was initially attracting her.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I got
yes.
I got lost in the woods, and she had white hair like you.
Yes, I have met her myself as well, and she's quite the lovely fae, isn't she?
Well, I mean, she was very nice. It's been a long time. Do you want to sit, have a drink? You've been drinking a lot. I don't know if you want to keep drinking.
Sure, I can have another glass.
And Edgar puts another. I don't have a token for Edgar. I probably have one. I mean, I probably have what I described of him. I probably have something that looks like that, but yeah. Also, I didn't realize there's actually like a completed tavern that I could have dragged over instead of this empty one. But you know, whatever. So are you have um, interesting companions?
Oh, yes, we're adventurers, doing business around here.
Um, do you are you traveling around a lot? I travel around a lot. I go and play, and you can see that she's just like, again, she's like, I'm doing so bad. I'm not good at talking to people. I
Oh,
just like to play music.
oh, no, it's fine. I We are traveling a lot now, although before today I haven't actually traveled too much. Um, is there any place that you enjoyed traveling, or tell me about Wildmount?
Well, I Wildmounts. There's a lot of wilderness, and I traveled a lot. It seems it took a long time to get to places, but I was in the city of Aor, which is a flying city, and it was really amazing. But it's also really expensive to stay there, and I couldn't really afford it, so I had to leave. I got into a little bit of trouble, but it just sort of trails off. Like I probably shouldn't be saying that. Um, but yeah, I came to Asilra as kind of uh, a way to maybe start over. I don't know. I don't really have a plan. I'm just kind of going around.
I think sometimes that's a very nice plan. See what you see and travel where you travel, and sometimes you just land up where you need to land up.
So where are you guys going?
Oh, we're
If you
going
don't
to
mind.
Mage. We're
All
going
right.
to Mageshear.
And she kind of any reason in particular? That's not really much of a tourist destination. That place is crazy.
Oh, just for business. Um, my friend who left, who told me about you, he runs a farm.
What kind of business would you have? I'm sorry, I shouldn't keep asking you questions.
Oh, no, it's okay. Just making connections for his farm.
Interesting place to do that, I guess.
Yes, I have never been to Maidshare myself, so I think it would be quite interesting. Where are you headed to next?
I'm not really sure. Somebody mentioned a place called Brightdale, and there's apparently a lot of halflings there or something, and
Oh,
that sounds kind of neat.
yes. They may not let you in, but you could try.
Do do they not like other people or?
They just like to keep to themselves, especially before, but we've freed them from the Kestrel couriers, so they might be more open and receptive now.
Hmm. Well, I guess I won't know unless I try. But I just thought that halflings like to drink, and it might be a good place to try and make some money doing my work.
Yes, and I'm sure they would enjoy your music.
Well, I and you can see that she's like hesitating to say anything. I would like to, maybe see you again at some point if there's. I don't know how we would do that, but if you're leaving now or later tomorrow, or I don't know how we would keep in touch, but I would like to do that maybe.
You could try sending letters to uh, the Sistrian farm. That's where I work. I
Oh,
keep sending letters back. Or if you're ever near Stormhaven, that's where the farm is. We're going to be traveling a lot, but we'll stop by there at some point.
oh okay. I can do that.
It was nice speaking with you, Ali.
Yeah. If you're traveling around, and I mean, you all look heavily armed to be farmers, so I don't want to presume anything or whatever, but like if maybe I could be helpful, and when I travel around, I hear lots of rumors and things, and maybe I could pass that information along to you, and that might if that's helpful. You can see that she's just trying to like come up with some reason that you would want to keep talking to her.
Yes, that would be wonderful. love hearing about things that are going on. We do know a little bit about Dathliger and a bit about the goings on in Vasselheim, but not much else at the moment.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other stuff that I could, I'll go to some of the smaller villages and stuff, and sometimes there's things that happen there that the big city people don't hear about, and maybe that could be helpful.
It would be very helpful. Thank you, Ali.
Yes, yeah. Thanks, thank you, thanks. It's nice to meet you.
It was very nice to meet you.
And she's because how tall is Ragna? 5'8"?
5'8". Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Allie's pretty petite. She's probably about 5'4", maybe 5'3". So she's kind of like looking up to you a little bit. But yeah, she's kind of she's petite. She's kind of small. So she is. I don't want to say she's cowering at you, but you can tell that she's extremely nervous and kind of like, and she's sort of like awkwardly like puts her hand out to like shake your hand.
Yeah, Ragna would give her a smile and shake her hand.
And then it, as you would be walking away, you can hear her mumbling to herself like, "Oh my god, I'm so stupid." And then I will, because I can, I'll flip her token back so that she's no longer looking in your direction.
Ragna goes back. She seemed very nice. Um, she's going to send us rumors sometimes.
A useful thing to have.
So, if there's nothing else, we can go ahead and have you all get your full night's sleep and then
As
head out.
soon as Callum is in his room, he's looking at whatever he just got slipped.
Yeah. I don't know how. I don't think that you would necessarily. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough like about Callum's specific background to know if he would know what they are. I feel like he might. I guess just do an Arcana check. I know that you.
Arcana,
Yeah.
odds are low. Let's
Yeah.
see. Big ol' 7. Seems unlikely.
Yeah. Second here. Do. Yeah, it's a stone. It's a stone.
Just a regular old rock.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to everyone what it actually is, but Callum isn't quite sure what it is.
Okay. For now, he'd sit on that. But once we leave tomorrow, that would be a conversation to be had with probably Arvid.
Yeah, I mean it's a smooth carved stone, so it's not like it's a something that is just like a rock, just a raw rock. It has been worked. But yeah, I was looking up the description of said rock to see if it like had any defining characteristics in the description, and it doesn't, surprisingly.
Odd.
And I just noticed that. So the human Oliver are we referring to Ali as Oliver?
I mean, that's how I was reading that character.
Yeah, she's yeah.
And I stand by what I said. I could legit hire a bard just to travel with us.
Yeah,
I mean, you could. You could make more work for Matt if you want to. I'm not going to stop you.
I mean, the only like I like that thing, but it does always become, especially like I'm much more open to like having sort of those NPC characters along for the ride when there are fewer. I mean, there's 6 of you though, so
Like,
it's unnecessary to have them around.
like I wouldn't hire them for combat, more just like
I
with
know.
the party and like narratively.
Yeah, I mean, you like hire like a pack mule, like, and by pack mule I mean actually a person just to carry your crap around. I
A
mean, yeah, you could do that
hireling.
kind of stuff. Yes.
Basically.
But in this case, at the very least, she's offered to do something that would be somewhat beneficial to you, but then not. It would. You wouldn't want her to be following you around if you wanted her to get rumors, because you would be there for the rumors yourself. Although, to be fair, I guess as a bard, she might get things that the rest of you wouldn't. But anyway, if you'd like to hire Allie, I will. I will roll to see if she would agree to that. If you really want to. I'm sure Ragna would love to have a doting little weirdo following her around.
I mean, yeah, I'd put the offer out there. Because it's entertaining.
So, does anybody else want to do anything?
Hey, sorry, what did I miss?
Awkward conversations with Ragna and Allie, and now Arvid wants to make it worse by hiring her full time to be awkward.
Nah, I mean, I'd probably go check on William, but that's about it.
Oh, he is not there.
Oh,
When the guy went back inside, he just started walking away.
okay. Arvid, you went outside though?
Yes, but you'd have to try and find me.
Oh. I mean, I'm just waiting for an opportunity when we're alone and not in the company of Rhea's friend, and just sort of mention, like, that book, is it really a good idea for her to have something like that? She seems to have gotten a bit colder since she's acquired it.
Oh, it's not since she acquired it, it's since her waking up. I think she would be the best person to have the book at this point.
Also, frankly, after the time I've spent trying to pry information out of her about it and seeing more of what she's capable of, I would very much like to see you try to take it from her.
Well, my concern is just she seems to be willing to discard companions or use people, I should say. Someone as talented as her, who already has a predisposition towards these actions or traits or narcissism, however you wish to put it, leaving them in possession of a spell book written by some of the most powerful, not necessarily friendly spellcasters in existence, that doesn't seem strange to anyone.
She wouldn't harm anybody.
Not before she woke up, maybe, but she's on
I've
that
only
path now.
I've only known her after, but since that point our goals have continued to align. If at some point they do not, that becomes a more valuable conversation to have. But for now, I trusted in her hands more than most anyone's, really.
I mean, couldn't we return it to Zabilna?
I can ask her. I was going to speak with her tonight, regardless, to ask how it may have gotten into Neela's possession, but I truly don't think that's necessary, especially to learn what's in the book, or at least she can learn what's in the book.
I guess
Tell her.
that's what I'm concerned about is someone potentially powerful and dangerous learning from some of the most powerful people to have existed.
As I said, she wouldn't harm anybody. The only thing she's after is the undead in Neru, as Callum is.
Then I shall let the matter rest for now.
Do know that your concern is. I don't think you're wholly wrong. But for now, I think it's in the best place it can be.
You mean it's in the best place it can be to further your goals?
I mean, I would argue that my goals are a benefit to everyone here. But I suppose that is technically true.
Well, that's all I'll say on the matter, and I will get up to retire for the evening.
Oh, I was only able to get 2 rooms. We'll have to share somehow.
Hmm.
Considering there's only 3 of you here,
Yeah, half the party bailed.
people are sleeping in the hay with the horses, and Arvid's walking
I
off,
mean,
doesn't even need it in his own little, literally in his own little bubble. And
I could just sit in a corner somewhere.
I mean, yeah, you could just sit at the bar and nobody would know any different, you know. But I have so many little things like, here, look, if anybody would like to take a bath, I've got a bathtub.
Oh.
I have so many things on this that like, because on Roll20, it's under your like marketplace, it's under premium assets, and I forget that I even have these things half the time. So I'm always like trying to find all these maps, and I could be like building my own half the time.
Yeah, that is pretty convenient.
I actually did not anticipate that we would be spending as much time as we have in this particular spot, which is why I bought but
Well, we got in a stalemate. It was a Canadian standoff of who's going to move first. After you. No, after you.
so I might put together a more detailed Radiant Maiden at some point. Maybe we'll come back here.
Well, if you make a more
But yeah.
detailed one, we'll absolutely have to come back here.
So, Griswold, were you doing anything on your journey, or are you just...
He is drinking, and he is going to probably pass out somewhere a few 100 yards away.
Do I
Anything else?
do I find the sad, depressed Griswold?
He does his best not to be found, but again, he's drunk, so I don't know.
I mean, yeah, unless you're specifically looking for him, I would imagine you probably wouldn't, considering he wasn't like you weren't going after him necessarily when you went out.
No, I was just going to a random secluded spot. It's just, if I see him, I'll put the spot above him. It's a 30-foot radius.
I mean, Callum would at the least be worried enough to ask Ragna since she's still around. Like, should we look for any of the others? I mean, your sister and William, and I think Arvid's wandered off now too. Are they all going to be all right?
Well, I think so. Signe and Arvid both said that they wanted to sleep outside. Regarding Griswold, I am a little bit worried about him. He didn't seem to like the comment about his previous love, which is fair.
Very. As long as you think they'll be safe enough.
I
He in
think
particular, I worry about being, well, given his own concerns, I'm surprised he's not staying put around company, but
yes, I would have preferred he room inside, but I'm sure he can look after himself.
then I will have faith in them as well.
And
Do
this, since the party is
Arvid-
split up, this is where the portal to the abyss opens up and demons start running out, killing everyone because
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does Arvid or Griswold happen to meander by the stables?
I can.
That depends on Matt. I don't know where the front door was, but Griswold walked out and he walked away from like where he thought anyone would be. So probably like away from the road, away from everything like that, and just like the opposite direction.
so my thought, because again, I mean, I had no anticipation for this, that this would be the front door here. Make sure I'm
Okay,
on the
then
right.
yeah, he would have
So
walked
this is
out
the
and just
front door, and the road would be you know out across, so you would be going essentially
he would have
north across
followed
the
he
road,
would have he would have gone right over that way then.
and the stables would be over here on the other side of this wall over here outside. So it looks like you would have been going the opposite direction of the stables. Arvid possibly would have gone that way though.
Yeah, I could have looked before settling down.
All right. Yeah, just if they can't find Griswold, we'll look later.
And before going to sleep, Ragna would have stepped out to like maybe the main road area and uh did her divine sense just in case. Boop.
I like that they actually include Strahd
Mhm.
on the description.
I mean, where else do you get a more iconic undead?
I've never played that module, so I don't really have any.
I mean, it's even just it's less the module, more just the setting. Like Strahd is like the D&D vampire.
Yes, Barovia. I would say you do not celestial fiend or undead. You do not find any of those things.
Yep. So with that, she would turn around, go back inside, and head upstairs. And however they split the room, she would sleep.
I think there's only two of you
Yeah.
using the rooms.
Yeah.
Oh,
Callum's flexible. Callum would be like, it's whatever. So, I mean, he would just sleep. There's a bed. If no one else is going to use it, like, yeah, no point in letting it go to waste. He's frugal, but not like sworn to poverty.
Ragna would also take a bed.
So, hey, there we go.
It's night.
Darkness.
It actually isn't. What it is I was just gonna do this instead, and like it's gonna adjust a little bit. Hey, look, now we have a full bard.
Hey.
Wow.
I did all of that by myself while we were doing this. I created it all.
I like it.
So the bar's in a different place than I said it was when I was just looking at a random thing. So
Oh no. My immersion.
but I looked at it perfectly that Allie ended up in a chair at a table. She was supposed to be at the bar, but yeah, there we go. I like it. This place even has a bathroom, a little hole in the floor for a toilet. So yeah, now that you're ready to leave, we have a completed tavern.
Lovely.
For
We'll
next
use
time.
it for breakfast.
Oh God.
There's actually a second floor as well, but I'm not gonna throw that out there. With a bunch of bedrooms. So yeah, you guys all get a long rest, even if you're drunk outside in the trees. You get a long rest.
Right.
So whatever you would like to do in the morning, you will say that the exorbitant cost that you paid for the rooms themselves also include a continental breakfast. So you get some some bananas and some croissants. So you get a little bit of you get breakfast.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Ragnar, it's
Breakfast meat stew.
Yes.
I'll probably harvest some berries and stuff before I come in.
Griswold is not there.
Arvid, did you see Griswold outside?
No, he drunkenly walked off, but I think he kind of needs to do it and be left to his own accord.
I don't necessarily disagree, but I also do wonder if something has happened. I mean, we are in this area investigating a very particular kind of activity. And, well, a drunk human on the side of the road who we know has some ties to less savory groups does raise some concerns.
At that, Ragnar would get up and say, perhaps I'll go look for him.
That sounds like a good plan.
I'll be right back. Away she goes. Looks left and right.
Investigation check.
Investigation. Moves right.
You do not see
Only
him.
right.
All right, here's Edgar. I found this is the first mustachioed token I found.
It's a glorious mustache.
Yes.
Yay.
And some little sideburns and a little bit of a soul patch as well. The proprietor of the Radiant Maiden.
Well, the reason why I'm not looking for him, Callum, is yes, a sensitive subject was brought up for him, but at some stage you do have to accept things and allow that even mention to happen.
I'm not sure I follow Arvid. My concern is that he may have been abducted.
I've got my doubts on that. Well, he didn't like a part of the conversation, got drunk, and started feeling sorry for himself. Or angry at himself, one of the two.
I mean, obviously, I'm not overly concerned, otherwise, I'd be out there looking as well. But just enough, I think, is good that someone's looking for him.
Doing a great job too.
Oh, so how did that...
Meanwhile, Ragnar's back at Stormhaven.
So, How did they
This
come?
was, where was the last place I saw him? Like, let me retrace my steps all the way back to Stormhaven.
Oh, once we're on the road, I do have a question for you, Arvid.
Okay. Sure. Oh, how did that
Just
conversation go with Ragnar and a friend last night?
I didn't pay too close of attention to it, but seemingly well enough. Apparently, this bard is going to stay in touch and hopefully provide us with information and rumors she picks up on her travels as an excuse for continued interaction.
Interesting. Well, I'll go confirm the details then.
Sounds like. Wonder how William will feel when he hears about that.
Well, it's kind of not up to William.
Oh no, just curious what his response will be.
Well, he'll have to accept some of his problems and face them eventually. Now's as good a time as any.
Agreed. Well, if you don't mind, I'm at least going to finish my breakfast before we go. The road ahead could be long, and the food's already paid for.
I'd like to take Aster on an early morning hunt.
Okay. Yep, you kill lots of things.
Perfect.
So you can add rations if you'd want. Some
Well, how
venison
many?
and some rabbit and
Oh, so a little bit of everything.
yeah.
How many rations would I get out of being able to feed her properly? Like after that.
I would say because you would have to be doing this basically in the field. Um, uh, we'll say you get 3 more rations. I love this. I mean, this is the great part about being a DM for anybody who's never DM before. It's like, this has been 2 hours. I expected this to take like 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I am just currently, like, as someone who grew up in a family where hunting is a very popular sport, coming out of 3 rations with venison, I'm like, did you catch half a deer?
Well, I mean, the thing is with that is that like you don't have enough time to
I
like.
know, I know. There's lots of good reasons for it, but that's
Yeah,
immediately where my brain went. Was like,
yeah.
oh, that deer had something really wrong with it.
It's mostly just time, not so much like the, you know, because yeah, my dad was a big hunter, and like the best tacos you will ever have is with venison meat. It is delicious. But yeah, so obviously you can get a deer, and you put that stuff, all the different cuts, you put that in the freezer, and it's gonna last you for a long time. But yeah, it's just a matter of like, well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna hang it from a tree and let it bleed, all the blood out and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Honestly, Signet wouldn't really care about that. She'd just be like, all right, Aster, come on, you're helping me lug this back too. Just tie a rope on it and drag that fucker.
Dude,
If you
eating
want to carry
hearts
around
is nice.
I mean, if you want to, yeah, if you want to carry a deer carcass with you around,
Yeah, I totally will.
It will go bad relatively quickly without being
relatively quickly,
frozen or
and you have,
treated in some way.
right, you have to salt it and dry it and make jerky and stuff like that. But
No,
that's
that's
why
okay.
I said,
I'll just bring it back and just be like, "Yep, you guys can have the rest of the meat to like the innkeeper."
I mean, yeah, like the like so obviously for sure, Edgar would buy it from you. I mean, whatever you get those 3 rations, and he'll pay you for the rest.
Perfect.
I don't know what seems fair to. I don't have any idea.
How much do rations cost?
Right. How much do rations cost?
I think it's like 2 gold a pop.
No.
No, it's not that high. 5
It's
silver,
way
maybe.
cheaper.
Something like that. I don't know. It's been a
I
while.
know. Because it's
I think it is like 5
Uh,
silver a pop now
5
that I
silver.
say
Yeah,
it.
one. Yeah, so 5 silver. So I mean, we'd figure like I guess it's just a matter of. All right, he'll just give you a gold for whatever's left. Because we'll say it was a big buck and there was a lot of meat, so he just gives you a gold for everything.
Sounds good to me.
You would need to do a really high DC persuasion check to get the cowardly bard to follow you all around. And by cowardly, I mean she just would be terrified to be spending that much time with Ragna directly.
Hey, Dungeon Master. I'd like to spend. I would like to spend my inspiration.
Hey,
You are a horrible person.
I am.
that's fine. You have agree. She will agree to go with you.
Yeah, I'll look at it. For me, it's entertaining and it's possible NPC interaction, like story interaction possibilities.
I dug my own grave. I gotta.
Yep.
So yes. I don't know if then the rest of the party will have objections, but she will agree to go with you, somewhat reluctantly.
Oh, she's an employee, kind of. Same like a few of them.
Hey, why is she coming with us?
Well, she's going to be travelling with us to gain inspiration, and he'll just lean into Signe. Plus, she kind of has a thing for Ragnar.
Arvid? Okay, you probably already paid her, didn't you?
I've hired her.
God's damn your eyes, Arvid.
Hey, what's wrong with my eyes?
I'm gonna take a little walk over here. Oh, shut up. You know what I mean.
So, just as a rundown then, yeah.
And then there were 8, including the dog.
So, Allie, I don't know what she is an NPC, so I don't know exactly what level she would be like, but she is she's on par with you guys. She is
I was gonna say, just
she's a
Go
4th
ahead.
level spellcaster. So she's got
2nd level
yes.
spells.
So she has cantrips, friends, mage hand, vicious mockery. She's got charm person, healing word, heroism, sleep, thunderwave, invisibility, and shatter. Additionally, she has Song of Rest. That's probably what will be most useful to all of you.
What's
Hey, you. Girl.
Yes.
I don't really know who you are.
I'm Allie,
You treat my sister real nice.
and as is accustomed to her with her red hair, her face basically turns the color of her hair. I will try and treat all of you well.
I don't know if it's gonna work, but +1 because of my luck stone.
I'll inspire the bard. Well, I'll guide the bard.
Hold on a second. Roll20 is being dumb.
I liked how dramatic that music was for this intimidation roll.
So is that including your weapon? Do you have Wyvern's Bane in your hand to get the bonus?
Yeah, you know what? I probably would.
So is it a 13 then, or does that include it?
I didn't include
Oh,
that.
okay, so it's a 13.
Well, that would bring it up to a 14 because I have a luck stone.
Oh, okay. So, is there an opposing roll on intimidation?
No, it's just a social role. There's no like hard and fast rules for how they work. There are guidelines about like based on how friendly a character is to you, how social role, like what the DC should be at. But it's effectively just uses like the DC suggestions for the DM of like, you know, a 5 is a DC 5 is very easy. DC 10 is easy.
I would say it's a surprisingly decent DC against her, and especially because she actually has the taunt ability as well. So I feel like she's probably not super intimidated or intimidatable. Again, especially because she's also a performer, so getting up in front of people takes some guts. So, um, I would say it's probably not super successful. Like she's not like cowering in front of you, but you would notice that she kind of has an eye on the axe, and she's like, I'll 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 be good.
Cool. Now we got that out of the way. Name's Signe.
I'm Allie.
Yeah. Nice. This is Aster.
And you see that she gets kind of wide eyes and kind of does the little scrunchies of his ears. And Edgar's like, "Get that dog out of here!"
Yeah, come on, Aster.
Because Aster's probably still licking her chops from having killed a deer. All right.
Everyone knows you're the goodest girl.
So, is there anything that anybody would like to do before you head out with your new follower?
Oh, you mean Mike's new character?
hmm
If he's not back by the time we're all about to leave, I don't know, I'll have a look around, just see if I can
Yeah,
see him. That's
if it-
about it.
If it comes to leaving with or without Griswold, then Callum will look for him as well.
Ragna is still attempting to look.
What do you mean he... Oh, God. He got drunk, didn't he?
Yep.
It's halfway back to Stormhaven by now.
Come on, Aster. You remember what stinks like.
Yeah, using Aster, you would have advantage on any investigation rolls from her keen sense of smell.
Is it investigation?
Probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll look as well because I've got advantage.
Although I
Callum's
guess
not great at that, but I'm
technically,
looking, so I'm
Aster,
rolling.
Aster would give you the bonus on perception rather than investigation, but so 22 with Aster's help. So yeah, Signe and Aster could find him.
When they come up, he'll just be sitting up with his back against a tree drinking again.
Oh, Griswold. What are you doing on the ground, man?
Waking up. Are we ready to go?
Yeah, are you?
He gets up and throws his backpack on, and just nods and starts walking towards the inn.
You know you can't just get up and go on an empty stomach like that, right?
He'll kind of, I've done worse. Let's go.
Oh my god. No, listen, take this ration for the road.
He just keeps walking. He's still somewhat drunk already, like left over and a bit new, and he's just walking.
Griswold, if you don't eat, you're gonna throw up in the bushes 10 miles in.
Wouldn't be the first time.
God damn it, Griswold.
I will say, like, 5 minutes later, after Griswold gets back to the inn, Ragnar will come back to the front door and be like, I couldn't Oh,
And yeah, like
Where did-
everybody's probably getting up, and then like you've got Allie there too with like her little backpack on and like her little loot on her back. Like nobody knows that she's supposed to be going. Well, at least you do. Ragnar didn't know she was going with you.
nope. Her O is mostly to Griswold. At this point, she doesn't even know that Allie is coming.
So in all of your stuff, if anybody had wanted to make any attempts to speak to Rhea and Caedmon before they left, because they would have left already while you guys were faffing about doing all this stuff. So we can interject any conversations you wish to have had with them if you wanted to.
I will say Ragnar spent far too much time searching.
Signe's
Would-
agenda was to wait for them out in the horse stable.
If Callum could get time alone, would just have a sorry, I'm an idiot. What did you give me?
Yeah. So obviously, what everyone knows, she would have told you that they were sending stones. Idea being that if
Okay.
you come across anything that is of interest, to let her know, and essentially vice versa. Since
Agreed.
your general goals align more than anybody else's.
Makes sense. Appreciate it.
She sort of nods, and as she's like walking, she walks past you, and for the like, it is almost somewhat shocking to you that she actually shows like some. It's not emotion, but as she walks past you, she sort of just like puts her hand on your shoulder as she's walking by, and then just lets go. But it's like it's almost a human interaction that she had right there.
It's a moment of solidarity. Of being the only two people who seem to understand the gravity of the situation.
Yes. It's one of those saying a lot with just a thing, like all of the don't die, be careful, all those things just in a shoulder touch.
Yeah, Callum just gives a nod. He's on the level. He gets it.
And you can see that Caedmon is being sort of jovial and getting all the horses ready and all excited about the next adventure, because you get that he doesn't really understand the gravity of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you guys can all prepare and make your way today's journey to Mageshear.
Griswold is going to pick up another bottle of liquor before he leaves. He doesn't even really think. He just throws down like 3 pieces of gold.
And Edgar is not one of those people that would say, "Oh, that's too much." He would just take it and give it. He'd give you a pretty decent bottle, but he wouldn't tell you that you overpaid. He would just take it and move on.
Sounds good.
And the road to Mageshear is not perilous in any way. So I'm just going to move you guys to the Mageshear map, which is not coded like there's also a big map, so you have to zoom out. But I didn't put any of the key like I did for Stormhaven, mainly because that was a lot of work that we never used. So
That's very fair.
so if we end up spending a lot of time here, and I would have, but and I have no idea now because 15 minutes turned into 2 hours, so God knows how long we may be here. But um,
Honestly, correct me if I'm wrong, just because I've got, you know, my my concentration hasn't been great lately. It sounds like there's no actual signs of the death cult here beyond just there's some cult activity here.
um,
Like she looked into that.
no, she didn't
Okay.
specifically look into it because her current goal is not specifically to look for the cults. Like that's not
Okay.
her. Yeah, so sort of leaving that up to you to that's not the route she's taking. You're like, I guess you have like the same end goals, you're just going about them in different ways. So she's looking for magic to use. She's not really trying to find
Against.
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. She's
So
trying to find weapons. I'm trying to find the target.
yeah, basically that's a good way of looking at it. So so looking at this map here, you can see that like in the center here, this is basically where the continent was ripped in half. Um, and these bridges have been built. Now, you guys would be coming from the south, so you guys would be coming through this little section down here first, and then up to the gate and everything. Your general area that you were sort of like, at least Caedmon had mentioned, was the cemetery. Pretty decent place, possibly to start when you're looking for, dead things, which is up here. This is the cemetery up here. But as you approach Mageshear from the south, you can see that the city is essentially broken into three separate pieces, essentially, and that there's a river flowing through the city. It's difficult, obviously, on a 2D map to sort of uh, show the depth of this crevice that's been broken in, but it's quite deep actually, and you can see that again, though not displayed on the map, along these sort of cliffs beneath essentially the city and along the river there, you can still see sort of magical, like this kind of violet magical energy that's sort of like almost like a mist that floats out of the rock. It's pretty to look at, but you all assume quite dangerous still. Um, but most people don't seem to pay it much mind. Um, Again, known for a general safe haven of practice and experimentation of magic that other places would frown upon. And as such, all manner of strange and fantastical things can be seen and heard in this city. Um, and of course, with less oversight comes the dangers and dangerous people. And you can see overall, the buildings themselves are not uh, in quite as good shape as they would be in Stormhaven. The upkeep is not quite there. Um, what you would also recognize is that a lot of the buildings are quite old. So Mageshear, I didn't create a different name, but Mageshear was an older city essentially and then it was broken apart. So this city's been here for a very very long time, and it was here obviously before it was became what it is today. So a lot of the buildings you can see are of older architecture and they're not in the greatest of states. Most of them have kind of been left, not, I won't say left to disrepair, but people just haven't tried essentially to keep it. That's not, again, the priorities of the people in this place are not to keep a pristine city. They're to test magic and do crazy things like that. So it's not necessarily, it's not like it's a slum or anything, but it is definitely a downgrade from Stormhaven. And you
As
can
we
see
go
that
through this,
yeah, sorry.
sorry. I was gonna say, as we go through the streets, Signe offers new complaints now. that she understands carpentry. It's like, oh, that's an easy fix. Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? Just pointing at like different building faults.
For sure, yeah. And you can see that, like, so, like, in places like this here, which would have likely been, you can't tell anymore because all of the iconography would have been removed, but the places that would have been there's actually one down here to the southwest outside of the city. These are no longer temples to gods. They would have been originally, and you can see that, but you're not quite sure what they are these days. I do like the way that this map is designed, where like this section here is essentially raised. There's these stairs, and then there's like an underpass here.
Oh,
So like the
makes
the
sense.
marketplace is, yeah, the marketplace is kind of built up, and then it's also in a little pit here. But yeah, um, if you wanted to go to the cemetery, it's the Long Gate Cemetery. It's over here.
Hmm.
And that is the last vestiges of any sort of religious activity.
Has Griswold sobered up on the way here at all?
He would have been sober, but he has done his best. If no one said anything to him, is off by himself.
That's fine.
Well, considering we don't really have a place to start, should we do the like quotes, my business, and we can ask around when we do that?
I think that sounds like a wonderful idea. As it stands, the cemetery is likely our best lead, but, well, I wouldn't put it past Nerol and his minions to be a bit more sly than that, so. Yes, groundwork, asking around. William, bit of your specialty, yes?
I'm good with a specific type of people, but I'll do what I can.
Well, if you can identify places of business around the city,
They'll be the places that have business in them.
basically, yes. If you identify them around the city to us, we can gain further information from them. Then you can continue your little pity party by yourself.
And you guys would also know that there are docks up here. So your plan is sound. You could get a ship from here to sail south, as you had anticipated. So. So, what exactly does everybody want to do here?
Well, clearly I'm Marvin's muscle, so
Yeah, the idea I was putting forward is if, as we're going around the town, like doing like the full tour, whilst Arvid and more than likely Ragnar and Ali now, because would be great sellers. Whilst that's happening, people can investigate.
Yeah.
I mean, we can attempt to investigate at least.
No, but you know what I mean? It's kind. I did not plan for this to be the cover, but it's kind of turned into a perfect cover for investigating. I'm literally setting up business contacts while people are actually investigating.
All right, so we can do that bit. So, what is everybody else gonna do while they're going about doing that?
I mean, Callum would absolutely be on investigation duty. He's not great at it, but he would be doing his usual spiel of, well, there's got to be some sort of, be it shelters or food kitchens or things like that he would, you know, medicinal locations, things that he can go lend a hand at. And while he's there, just be like, so, have you heard about Nerol?
Have you met Ted? Um, but yes, there. Well, actually, I should say no. There's actually not much of that here. You would in asking around for that type of thing,
Mhm.
you would get that essentially the only people that are interested in anything remotely close to that are the followers of Melora, which are the people in the cemetery as well.
Mhm.
Everybody else is. It's a very. You get the idea that it really is the keeping to themselves, people putting themselves first. It's a very self-serving place, which is partially why it's sort of fallen to
Surely,
pieces.
at least some sort of like medical services are available, though. People go somewhere when they're sick.
It's to the same place. It's to
Okay.
the because so this like is essentially now a temple of Melora. Um, so they're the ones that offer. There are, from what you can understand, there are a dwindling number of them in the city, but they are the ones. They are clerics um, that offer those types of services. Um, but yeah, I will say that there are doctors, um, but they are the back alley type, the ones that are gonna take your kidneys when you say you have a headache, kind of people.
Hmm. Well, I mean, if the Temple of Malor is the place that has those kinds of people, then that is the place that Callum would probably go to poke around then first, even if it is right in the heart of everything.
I mean, it's technically outside the city walls. And a lot of these, like, so you've got like some people here that are like foresters and stuff like that that are selling the wood. Obviously, not as per Signe's carpentry skills showed. They're not necessarily using the wood for the repairs of the city. They're just using it for profit. Um, but the temple is just outside the city proper.
Yeah, he would certainly have there, at the very least, the people who are like dealing out healing services seem the ones least likely to be involved with the death cult, regardless of their location.
So yeah, I mean, like you can see that it is uh, cemetery sitting sort of northeast part of the outskirts of the city there. And just looking around, I assume without going in, are you going in to try and talk to people, or are you just sort of taking a look at it?
I mean, taking a look first, but then he would be going in and offering to help. Like, hey, I'm here. This is my expertise. These are the things I can do. Let me lend a hand if you've got people here who need help with any variety of things.
All right. So
And, and then
yeah,
and then while he's in there, be like, so, you know, I've been hearing nasty rumors about cults in Mageshear, that kind of stuff.
um, so walking over towards the cemetery, you notice that it is actually a very beautiful garden of statues and tended plants and trees and mausoleums and headstones. And you see right away that the condition of the graveyard is absolutely pristine, which, from what you know, makes a little bit of sense considering that if these are followers of Melora, being a nature god, makes sense that it would be pretty. And as you enter in, you can see that there are both paved and gravel walkways that wind through the trees, and there's well tended shrubs. And um, you can see after a few moments, there is you see a man and a woman dressed in sort of simple gray robes. That they're trimming shrubs and pulling weeds around the graves. But yeah, the main thing that you're taking is that like this feels like a completely different place from the rest of Mageshear, which is starting to get a bit run down, and this place looks immaculate.
Hmm. But there are a couple people there.
Yeah, there's a man and a woman that you notice tending to the cemetery.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, having found the information that this is where you would go for like healers and all that stuff, Callum would absolutely just walk right on in, be casual about it. Approach one, flag them down.
Yeah, so the woman would be the first to sort of notice you and greet you and say, "Oh, hello, welcome to Longgate. My name is Freya, and this is Marco."
Freya and Marco. Callum, lovely to meet you both. I've heard that this is where the Temple of Melora can be found.
Well, it's not really a temple of sorts anymore, but that was the original plan.
Is it just the two of you?
Oh no, there's the head groundskeeper, Yorvir. He's inside the, and then she sort of shrugged like the temple, and nobody goes there to worship anymore, so hesitate to call it that.
I see. Um, Apologies. I had expected more people here, was all. I had heard that this is where folks in the city come to if they need uh, medical aid or things of that sort.
Oh yeah, we do that too. And Cassidy's in there. She's the youngest of us. She's in there somewhere. There were a couple of others, but and then she sort of just stops.
But
You should probably talk to Yorvir. Do you want to talk to Yorvir?
uh, certainly, allow me to explain myself. I had been traveling through and had hoped to lend some assistance, but it sounds as if not all is well here.
And she kind of looks down a little bit. Well, you could say that, but things haven't been right in the city for a while.
I mean, Mageshear certainly does carry something of a reputation. So, who did you say I should speak to about this? I'm sorry.
It's Yorvir. He's the head caretaker.
All right. Where would he be
Oh,
exactly?
oh, he's over in the little chapel over there. I'll take you over there, and
Right.
Freya will guide you over to a small little chapel where Yorvir is. And as you enter into the chapel, you can see it. He's a thin, middle-aged man. It's a human male. He's got a shaved head and kind of a well trimmed beard, and he's dressed in the same sort of gray robes. But you can see that down at the bottom, the robes are all frayed, and there's like twigs and leaves that are tangled up in the bottom of them. And you see that he's sweeping the floor as you approach, and as he sees you and Freya approach, he sort of turns and introduces himself as Yorvir Landon, and says, "Ah, what service can Melora's faithful provide for you today?"
Um, well, actually, I'm traveling through the city and I had hoped that I might be of some service to you while I was here. Though, I've heard that things are not as they should be, and to talk with you about it.
You see his face gets kind of serious. Certainly things have taken a turn recently. And
If you don't mind me asking, what sort of turn? I've come with a group. Perhaps we could assist with whatever the issue is.
oh, did you want to bring your friends over? We could.
They have some other business to attend to currently, though I do intend to at least have a visit before we leave. I can think of a few who'd be happy to do so. But tell me more of this issue. I had come thinking I might be able to lend assistance with those in need. Uh, well, things here seem smaller than I expected.
Well, I don't know where to begin. I suppose this place used to be. Uh, I hesitate to use the word overrun, but there used to be quite a problem with people coming back from the dead once they were buried here. And over the last 50 years or so, we've turned this cemetery into the place that you see today, which is, I believe, something that we can all be quite proud of. But uh, I am afraid that there's a possibility that those things have started to return in some form. One of one of one of our brothers, Sivan, he vanished about a month ago, and it's very strange. It's not possible that he would leave. And he's been dedicated to Melora and this cemetery for nearly a decade. I, but we have seen nothing of him. And then one of our sisters disappeared, and you can see that his face gets very
Mm.
sort of serious at this point. He's like, "We did find her um, about 12 days ago, and she had been." And he swallows hard. He's like, "She'd been partially eaten," and leads me to believe that the undead are active again. And there's a
That is gravely concerning.
there are strange sounds coming from the catacombs, and the catacombs haven't been used in about a year. They mostly have been filled at this point, and the um, planned expansion of the catacombs has hit a snag, funding mostly. That it was started but never finished, and we haven't really gone down there in quite some time. And Marco and I went down to the opening of the catacombs, just the general area that the people would go to when we were about to inter someone, and we heard sounds, and we just came back up and sealed it.
This whole time, like Callum is listening to him with rapt attention, but he's trying to also measure how honest this guy seems to be.
Insight.
Okay.
He seems very genuine at this point.
Cool.
I would say the only thing that would catch you a little bit is that he seems very forthright for somebody that you just met. Like that's the thing that kind of strikes you, and you're not sure if that's because he's desperate or, you know, what exactly it is. But he's giving you a lot of information without much prodding, and that kind of is not your experience most of the time. So that might take you aback a little bit.
Seems. I can understand your concerns with what's going on, especially in tandem with the rumors I've heard on my way here. If you any leads to go on.
Well, I mean, not much beyond what I told you. Just the sounds in the catacombs, and finding one of our sisters that she was partially eaten, and it seemed, I don't have a great knowledge of such things, but it didn't appear to be any sort of animal bites. More of a human-sized
I understand.
jaw.
Well, I'm sure my traveling companions will come to find me here once they are done with their own business. They knew that I would be coming in this direction. Perhaps while we wait for them, there's something I can assist with in the meantime. Then, once we're all collected, maybe then we can help with this as well.
Well, aside from just general cleaning and pruning, we don't have much going on at the moment. And he sort of like offers you a broom.
Callum will take it.
Yep.
Where should I start?
Oh, well, you can continue sweeping in here, and I can go outside and try and clean up some of the moss stains on the walls outside.
Very well. If you need anything more strenuous, by all means ask.
Well, Once you're finished, you can find Marco. He should possibly have some more for you to do.
But yeah, Callum is literally just gonna dub around here all day doing chores or whatever they say needs doing until people come find him.
All right. What is everybody else doing? Because I would say, like, as far as trying to find like it's a good cover for a business contact, but you're not gonna find much in Mageshear as far as like trying to like set up a business contact for any
Well,
tobacco essentially.
well, so that's basically the cover. It's like, if it happens, it happens. Huzzah, you know. But it's more of a case of, while we're going to these different locations around town, under the cover of the cell, it gives us more opportunities to interact with different groups of people to gain information of the happenings of Mageshear itself.
Yep. You can do an investigation check with advantage, as there's more than one person doing it. So
Sure. Indecisive sense gives me advantage.
So you hear some of the things that you've been hearing, but you hear more and more actually about Dathlider because of the nature of what's going on. There's quite a lot of interest to a lot of these magic folk, and they also, and the same thing that they've heard, the rumors of undead appearing in the city. Now, one of the things I think that you guys would with a 24, you would a slight difference, and this is probably something that you could discuss with Callum that would find interesting. Whereas, in general, the things that you have been hearing about the undead are related to Nerul. In Mageshear, they're talking about the undead, and you hear the name Orcus. And that's demons and the undead, which is where you start to get more, where you're hearing about Dathlider and the people discussing, gateways to the abyss and that type of stuff. So you've got there's two sort of places that the undead can come from, essentially. You have like the necromancer side that are, raising the dead, and then you have like ghouls and other things that are more missile undead type things. So you're actually hearing more about Orcus, the demon lord of necromancy, versus Nerul.
That is a fantastic amount of information.
Well, when you roll them and plus whatever, you get a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you would assume so. Well, everyone, might have been a bit of a bust on the business side of it, but looks like we actually got quite a lot of good information.
Yeah, I'm sure Callum's gonna be real happy. There's not only one, but two guys fighting over the undead.
Well, yes and no, it's not as simple as that, but kind of is. Never mind.
I mean, it sounds like they're just arguing over who gets the favorite toy. Except, it's corpses.
It's not an inaccurate way to describe it, just... Do we know where Callum wandered off to?
Callum's a little bit of a bleeding heart, so probably wherever poor people are.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I think William or Griswold would probably also it just help his mood to hear more about, demons, and again, he's got the devils, but still, just stuff from the underworld is probably just very very soothing to him.
Favorite.
Now, Griswold, do you need one of us to hold your hand?
We'll eat you.
We can hear you talking to your dog, by the way, Ryan.
Oh, sorry. I thought my mic was muted.
I on it, like I was enjoying that.
Just wanted you to, as an FYI, just there's nothing wrong with it, but
Just
But I
before
do
you go on
wanna
a
eat
racist tirade.
you.
you know, yeah. I mean, if you guys go, I mean, it's not. I'm not going to make you do anything crazy to.
Yeah, we'll find you
Mageshear's
eventually.
not that big, but you can find it pretty easily. But yeah, Mageshear is compared to Stormhaven is a relatively small place. So
Well, I assume we'll head over to the Grave Temple of Melora.
Hey, this place ain't too shabby.
technically, it's called the Long Gate Cemetery.
Oh, we'll head to the cemetery then.
Yes, because the temple's not really a temple anymore. I mean, as mentioned, there's nobody goes there except for the people that are already there.
It's actually quite a nice setup considering they're in the middle of civilization.
Yeah, say the rest of this place sucks, but this place is gorgeous. Round of applause to whoever keeps it up.
It's definitely quite nice.
Callum may or may not be spottable depending on what they have him doing now.
He's probably pulling weeds from around the graves.
There you all are. Thought it would only be a matter of time.
You guessed right.
Well, we got some interesting information if you're interested.
You're gonna hate it.
Oh, I have a bit of interesting information as well. So, by all means, though, you first.
Well, it's not the rule who's doing the stuff here or in let's scroll back up. Oh, Dazzleder. It's actually Orcus.
Interesting.
Still undead and demons and stuff, but yeah, at least it's not the rule.
Well, it's the rumors.
Yeah, the
No,
rumors.
for sure. That's just what people, especially in Dathlider, less so here, but
That's a bit disappointing. But I suppose they're still worth investigating.
Aye.
I have specific reports from the gentlemen who run what remains of this temple that they've had some undead troubles with the crypts nearby. We've taken a few of their number.
Let's go get him back.
I did offer our assistance, though I apologize if I've overstepped in doing so.
Hey, I'm good to go.
Me as well.
Ali, as long as you stay up here and don't follow us down.
I will be happy not to follow you down. Yeah. Oh.
Perfect. If you
Oh my god, you jumped me. No offense, but you've been quiet this whole time. I kind of forgot you were there.
Sorry.
don't worry about her.
No, you're good.
But yeah, I don't see any issues of volunteering us to help people.
And Alex is like, I'm gonna go. I'll go find an inn, and maybe I can play and get us some rooms or something if you all come back. And then she looks at Ragna, kind of like, please come back.
Oh, we will.
Hey, and any money that you make, it's all yours.
Oh, okay. Be careful and don't die.
We will do our best.
Just waves. Bye.
So
Make
Allie
sure you
heads
lock
off.
your door and your window.
Um, so yeah, if you've all met back up, then you can meet back up with Yorvir as well.
Yeah. So, Brother Yorvir, these are the individuals I mentioned earlier who had come with me.
Well, you all certainly look capable. I do have to mention, and I apologize, but though we do our best to keep this place up and running, we don't receive any donations, and we don't really do much that brings a lot of income. There's not a lot we can offer you. We might be able to scrape together some type of reward, but I don't know how much it might be or how much your
That's
services command.
Shoot,
that
I'll
is
do this for fun.
perfectly acceptable. We,
Yes.
to be completely honest with you, I had intended to come investigating such incidents and their possible connections to, and you've pointed us in the right direction. If anything, you've done us a favor.
Well, will ask. I mean, the catacombs are not. I wouldn't call them a maze, but there's different sections to it. I could have Cassidy go down there with you and act as a bit of a guide. She's probably not going to be able to fight much with you, but she could give you some direction if you need it. Not required, of course, but if that would be helpful to you.
Also, at the mention that they don't get much donation, Signe's gonna scoop like 50 gold out of her pouch. Just be like, oh, well, this is kind of weighing me down. I'm sure the temple could, you know, take care of this for me. The heavy burden.
That will make Callum smile.
And he's just like flabbergasted, like I don't know what to say. That's uh, thank you.
Yeah,
Signe's gone like 12 sessions without killing anything. She's got it. She's got it. She's happy to go down there, right?
I was gonna say she's literally gonna pay people to go kill stuff, re-kill stuff. Things that Callum will let her murder without a fuss.
she like her mood is genuinely picking up. Like she's getting like more smiley, more excited.
And you can see that Yorvir's like, are you taking a wolf with you?
Possibly. I believe that would be up to you, Signe. Is
Well,
your
are you gonna be too wide for the catacombs? Are you?
Well, it's just we don't often have animals in the catacombs. I don't think it would necessarily be disrespectful. It's just a bit odd.
Oh, well, hmm.
I mean, it's up to
You
you.
sit here and be a good girl. Oh, yes, you will. I'm sure people will love to see how nice and warm your fur is when you give them snuggles, won't they?
She just
brother? You had mentioned a guide, but you've also been quite explicit in your concerns about the dangers therein. Do you feel a guide is necessary?
Well, I suppose it's really up to you. The Cassidy is she's been a bit of a history buff, and she could possibly give you insight to certain aspects of the catacombs, but she's not entirely incapable of fighting something should something happen. Though I hope that's not the case. Um, it's really just a matter of how much of information would you want while you're down there, or would you just want to search around somewhat blindly?
I believe having her assistance would be preferred, but she should just be aware of the risks.
I
Well,
would hate to put her in any sort of danger, more so than is necessary. But the information would likely be useful to us, yes.
well, I'm sure she wouldn't have a problem. She's always happy to ramble on and on about the things that she knows, and he just kind of chuckles, and she's sort of a bit young then, proud of the things that she knows. She would be certainly helpful, and again, she's not entirely incapable of defending herself, but I'm sure if something dangerous happens, she can certainly head to the back.
As long as you have confidence that she will be safe enough, then by all means we will be happy to have her.
Uh, I will let her know, and I do have to say, and please, I don't mean to be rude or insult any of you, but I do have to ask that you don't disturb any of the resting dead within the catacombs, and please don't attempt to take any of the possessions that are with them. Um, there are certain countermeasures that have been placed, but also it's just obviously not a very kind thing to do.
By all means, looting will be off the table. Though I cannot guarantee we won't disturb those resting there, given that it may be difficult at times to differentiate them.
Well, if something attacks you, you're free to do whatever you need to do, but I mostly just do your best not to disturb anyone that is still resting peacefully.
We will do our best.
Well, did you have a time frame that you were attempting? Did you want to go now? I can go get Cassidy.
Now seems good.
Can I ask a small favor in return?
Of course.
Could you dog sit?
Yeah, sure. Freya is great with animals. I'm sure she would love to take care of. What's her name?
This is Aster.
And
I'm surprised you're not bringing her.
I'm tempted, but I get the feeling having made possibly low ceilings and tight quarters in certain areas where the bones might get packed too tightly may
I
not be
mean,
the best place for her.
Aster's small enough that she's not much bigger than any of us.
Mm,
the catacombs are, depending on as I mentioned, we haven't been down there in quite some time, but the ceilings tend to be about, I believe they were constructed about 10 feet high. There may be some corridors that are a bit tight, but nothing too bad.
well, there's also the other thing where clearly this is a very important place to you.
And considering that I don't believe we've worked with her in such situations before, I don't think doing it in confined quarters for the first time would be particularly good.
I'm surprised Signe hasn't spent any time doing that. But I suppose that is a fair point.
Yeah, I don't want the first time to be in a place where she could accidentally cave in half, a wall or something. And not that she isn't a good girl, of course.
And basically every time that you would like mention her name, her ears perk up, and she has that goofy sort of dog look, and her tongue's like hanging out of her mouth, like all happy anytime you say her name. She's definitely at this point has more of a dog personality than a wolf personality, at least around you guys. As we've seen, she's also quite terrifying and killing deer and stuff. So
All right, now you be good for these nice people, okay?
she'll
And
roll over on her back
walk.
for belly rubs. That's the payment for her being good.
Oh yeah, I'll give her all sorts of belly rubs.
But
Get
yeah,
the favorite spot, really get that leg going.
so Freya will come over and be happy to watch after Aster while you all enter into the catacombs, which I anticipated that we were all going to do like hours ago. But considering we're getting pretty close to our general stopping time, we will pick up the catacomb entrance next time